welcome to another episode of Sisterly Love.
My name is Candace.
And I'm Shayna.
And we're here to talk about life. No, I'm just kidding. Shayna, I'm glad to see you're in a better mood.
I'm in a great mood. I would be in an even better mood if you swallowed some water real quick. Candace is right on par with what we're going to be talking about today. I'm just going to let y'all know what the subject is, but it's about work etiquette and professionalism. And right now, Candace is sitting here eating chips on the mic.
Can y'all hear?
Full mouth.
Don't
full.
you hear when people smack? Like they can't
taste
their
it just sounds like
food.
she has stuff all on her tongue. And so we're going to ask her to get herself together. Professionalism. Don't nobody want to hear all of that. Anyway, we're moving right on. So we're so glad you guys can tune in again for another great episode of Sisterly Love. Candace, I want to know if you have a remember when for us today.
I do have a slight young remember when. On VH1, do you remember the shows? The shows that used to come on? I love the 90s. Or
Yep.
I love the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah, that's...
See? Humble thyself. Pride always go before fall. All those chips you just had.
Trickled and tumbled the back of my throat.
Seeing you let the door open. Go ahead and swallow.
Girl,
and get yourself together. Now, what was it about this show that you wanted to tell us about?
Nothing. I just remember the show. Dang it.
Okay, what about it?
Just used to bring back memories and nostalgia. So, moving right along, as we're talking about professionalism.
Hold on, no. We didn't even get on Remember When long enough. What was your What was your favorite decade? 80s, 90s,
My
2000s?
decade, of course, as y'all already know, baby, it's the 90s, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was born in the 90s. Can you guess what year? That's right. None of your business.
Okay. Candace is on one today. I was going to ask you something. Oh, yes. So, Candace recently spoke at a spoken word event.
Did not know you were sharing that.
And I just want to know how that went.
So I was sweating, and no, it was dope. I went Facebook Live, but whoever recorded, something happened. I don't know if they had their
Did
thumb
they have their
over
thumb
the mic.
over the?
They must have, because you couldn't hear the audio until about 3 minutes in. So, but no, I chose to share. It's an open mic night for Christians, I guess you could say. It's a place called The Source, put on by about 5 different churches. And they give you an opportunity to sing, share poetry, rap, whatever your gift is. And the first time I went, which was last month, I learned that anybody can basically go up there. Because one guy I know, he went up there and started singing, and he cannot sing. But it didn't matter because the environment was so inviting and so welcoming. So
what do people do though?
I mean, you clap. I mean, because it's like it's Christian. Like, you don't boo anybody. It's not a talent show at the least. It's definitely not a talent show. It's just an opportunity for people to share or do whatever it is that they don't usually have the opportunity to do. So I thought to myself, well, if he got up there and did that, surely I can get up there and do anything. And well, I guess that's kind of rude, but I don't mean it like that.
I know what you meant.
It's really open for him. It gives people an outlet because it's a safe environment. And so I decided that I would share something that the Holy Spirit had impressed upon me. Oh, don't you start. Something that the Holy Spirit
rain down.
So anyway,
rain down. Okay.
I decided to share something that the Holy Spirit had impressed upon me. And you could say I was like preaching or whatever. People say I was preaching, but I was just sharing what was on my heart. Shayna shaking her head.
You
like,
were
yeah,
preaching.
you were preaching.
I caught the end of it.
Whatever. But my point is, I got up there, I shared, and that was it. What's funny is, before I told anybody what I was going to share, they were like, what you going to do, get up there and bounce a basketball?
Ooh,
I was like,
shade.
But I went up there and shared what I felt impressed, and so it was awesome.
Yes, you definitely preached. You definitely ministered a word from what I heard from the ending. I couldn't catch the beginning, like you said. Somebody muted it. From what I heard, it sounded like some people were touched by it or ministered to it. Did anybody come up to you and say it was a word?
A lot of people came up to me afterward, and I was blessed by that. They said, you did a great job. Thank you for sharing. Love the perspective. Blase, blase. One guy even came up and was like, now this is what I don't understand. It's one thing to give someone constructive criticism, but not if it's unwarranted. Like, if I didn't ask you to tell me something, then don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you so bold?
So, wait, was it not constructive criticism? It was just criticism?
Well, no. Well, here's the thing. They encourage you to tell people that they did a good job afterward, because some people just
If they did a good job.
Well, no. Well, whatever.
Okay.
Just be encouraging is the point.
Okay.
And people were doing just that. But one guy came up to me. I kind of knew him. But anyway, I guess I don't know if he thought that we were cool enough. But he was like, thank you for sharing. You did a really good job. Some people were kind of bored, but they needed to hear that.
What?
That was my response in my head. I was like, I said some ungodly things in my head. But I'm like, why would you tell me that? Like, it's one thing if we were related and I asked you to come and listen and then give me some pointers. Like this, I'm trying to make a career out of this, but I wasn't. So if I didn't ask you, don't.
Did you learn anything for next time if you were ever to share?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I know to prepare better. I think I did well, honestly, but I like to do things off the cuff, and I know that things could be a lot better if I didn't, but whatever. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe next time I can catch it. It was my intention to go, but I got so tired. I was just ripping and running that whole day.
Black sheep.
I can't wait till the day that that you're pregnant.
Why?
Because I'm gonna be so disrespectful. I just want to let you know.
How am I being disrespectful?
So disrespectful. I'm gonna be so rude to you. I'm
That's
gonna like make you knock stuff out of your hand and not pick it up.
I have never done that to you.
I'm gonna be like asking you to walk faster.
I've never done that.
I'm going to say like, are you sure you're like that tired? Because I really feel like you can go a little bit longer. Like, I'm gonna do all kind of things.
That's
to you,
the athlete.
so I can't wait. I can't wait. But anyway, let's get into today's subject matter.
Meat and potatoes, please.
So, one thing that I have noticed, especially with our younger generation that is getting into the workplace, or people that have been in the same position for a long time, and they just choose to forget.
Shady.
But professionalism and work etiquette seems to be amiss in this day and age.
To read any good news
I knew you were going to do that.
Page.
So I just wanted to make sure people, I guess I want to talk about what to do and what not to do when you're at work. And these things I find are really beneficial because one, it'll help you keep your job. It'll help you get promotions in the future. And you'll just be a better or well-rounded individual and person to work with. So we're going to talk about that today. And I want to get Candace started because I know she has something she wants to say about this topic.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, baby, was actually something that one of my friends shared with me where she works. She is very kind. She has a very sweet heart as it relates to, like, I don't want to say the bottom of the totem pole because everybody's equal, but for example, custodians in her building. She believes that they work extremely hard and that people at work should be more considerate of their jobs. And I totally agree. Because she has coworkers that are very messy as far as cleanliness. So they'll be in the staff lounge and they'll make a mess, acknowledge that they've made a mess, and leave the mess for the cleaning staff. And I just feel like, not even as just a professional, but as a decent human being, you would think that you have the decency and the wherewithal to clean up after yourself. I mean, that's just common courtesy, I think. So to me, that's an indication that number one, you don't care about the people that work with you and around you. And number two, your house dirty. But anyway, one thing I can say when I first started working, I can really see how much being a student athlete prepared me for the workforce. I was a grad assistant once I graduated, and I learned a whole lot. It wasn't even about basketball. It was more so about relating and working with people who are different than you, who think differently than you do, operate differently than you do. But one thing as far as professional is with meetings, when we had team meetings and things like that, we weren't allowed to be on our phones. In fact, we weren't even able to bring our phones into like the film room or anything like that. And so that's something that I carried with me when I started teaching. when we have staff meetings, I make it my business to make sure that my phone is put away or that it's on silent. And that's when I first started working in my job. I noticed, like, man, these people don't know professionalism etiquette. We're in a staff meeting and your phone is ringing, like, out loud. Like, you don't even have it on vibrate, but it's ringing. And you have the nerve to take the call and, like, step outside. Like, you don't do that. To me, that's rude. You're not being respectful of what's happening right there in front of you.
You're not giving that person the time that they are requesting of you.
That's right. I mean, you're on your job. I understand that people have different situations and things, but if your brother or your homeboy is calling you about some money or something, that can wait, you know? And then another thing as it relates to my job is, well, maybe it's just me personally, but I have a thing for profanity. Like,
yeah,
I do not curse. I do not use profane words. To me, that shows you have a very limited vocabulary. I don't use profanity, but I am guilty of laughing when other people do because, you know, people just keep it real. You know, you can be a professional when you're in front of students, but like when we have teacher talk, we're just letting it all loose. You know, people curse, they may make jokes and use profanity in it, and I laugh, and I probably shouldn't, but it's funny. But anyway, but just one thing I've noticed is like people will say anything, like they tell kids to shut up. Well, I'm guilty of that too. I've done that a few times, but like, you shouldn't do that. As a teacher, you shouldn't do that. You should be mindful of how you speak to children, although a lot of them are used to that. But as it relates to being a professional, I think it's very important to watch what you say.
And I completely agree because so before I moved back to Mississippi, I was working in a corporate position in Tennessee, and now that I work, it's like night and day because I'm still a professional. I'm still working an administrative task, but I'm not working in a corporate office. And so one thing that I have noticed is that, especially with management, they feel more free to just curse. And especially when we're in meetings with other departments, like particular manager that I work under will curse while they're talking about a point. And that's one thing I've noticed too with older white men as well in the business world is that they have no problem using profane language, whether it be, you know, even though it's a professional setting.
Wow.
And so it's weird because it's I don't know. I feel like there's a time and a place for everything, that if you're out after hours, okay, that's what you do that. But when you're in the business world and you're talking about things and you're working with other people that may not even act the same way as you, I think there's certain ways to carry yourself, and one of those things that I think you shouldn't do is use language, especially when you're in meetings about important things.
Whatever happened to men not using profanity in front of women? Like, that was a respect thing. Like, I understand guys have guy talk, and you know, you might curse around your guy friends, but when a woman was present or in the room, you just didn't talk like that.
But it's different now because a lot of women they curse just
That's
like
fine
that.
Too, but can we not keep it professional?
But it's weird, but because I have people at my job that curse like a sailor, and they're women, you know, so you can say, oh, don't curse in front of a woman, but if the woman is doing the majority of the cursing, then I think it just depends on the environment.
Everybody needs a whooping then. They all need a whooping.
Some people, that is how they feel best to express themselves. I'm not saying that I agree. I don't use language, but that's just what a lot of people do. They feel like it's so much a part of the, it's not sad, but it's so much a part of their language that they don't think about it until you make somebody aware of it. It's just one of those cases is that they may not realize how it comes off.
To me, that's sad.
It's sad because it's offensive to you, but for someone else that does it all the time, it's not offensive to them. So nobody would be aware of how you feel because they're used to being around other people that are the same way as them. So the only way somebody would know that is offensive is if you tell them. And I have been in situations where I have to say, hey, excuse me, do you mind not cursing around me? And people tend to respect. They're like, oh, I apologize. Particularly, I say it to men. But I would just say that you can't say, oh, that's sad because how you live your life, if they're not aware of what they're doing, can be problematic.
Like I said, it's sad because we don't know better. Okay. When you know better, you do better.
What is your next thing about professionalism? I will say that one of my things is
timeliness.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I'm still working on my timeliness.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So I got to keep it all the way real. I believe as a professional, you should be on time. And what I learned being a student athlete too, my coach used to hold this standard. If you're on time, you're late. If you're 5 minutes early, you're on time. I think I said that backwards. So if you're 5 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And what that means is prepare. Do what you need to do in advance so that you can make it on time. For me now, I'll be straight up honest. And any of my coworkers can tell you I am late every day.
Hello.
Now,
right here too.
At the beginning of the school year, the first few months, I did excellent. I was on time. I was at my duty post. But now, I just start slacking up. And it's really pathetic. And it's all on me, to be honest, because I take my time. I want to do better about that. But please know that if you are in a professional working place, I don't care what job you're on, it's just about being excellent. And being a true pro is a person who is timely.
Yeah, timeliness is important. Something I definitely need to work on. I was at one point doing okay. And then I got pregnant, and then just the walk from the parking lot.
Ooh, I need some water. Ooh.
You need to get up my mic with all that foolishness. But just walking from the parking lot sometimes, or just making it like, it's just a little hard. But I'm doing a little bit better. My goal is starting like next week to just really get out the bed. It starts in the beginning of my day. I don't get up when my alarm goes off, and that puts me behind schedule. Sometimes I started doing 2 alarms, and then I turned off the second alarm and just never turned it back on. So like my body will wake up at a certain time, and it's kind of pretty late. So it's already starting the day for me to get there. I will be late. So I have to really start at home. And I guess that's the key thing, is getting yourself prepared the night before, and getting up when it's time to get up. And then we can accomplish that task. But yes, that's something I am working on. I'm not going to just throw y'all out. I'm not going to throw people out there. I'm just going to say that's something I need to work on as well.
That's something that's come to me recently. We all know the definition of insanity, and that's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And every morning that I'm late, I'm saying to myself, I'll do better in the morning. I'll do better tomorrow.
Yep.
And then I don't do anything different, and I'm still late. And I know what I need to do. And all I need to do, honestly, is make sure I shower at night and iron my clothes and have them out the next morning. And pack my bag and my lunch at night. And I'll be on time every time.
Or the thing is, I'll have my lunch cooked, but I won't go ahead and pack it up, so then I have to pack it up in the morning. Or I don't get my clothes ready the night before. So it's just like, I just need to do better. And my manager talks about it to the team all the time. And I'll be like, yep.
Like, you sure right.
Right. I don't even make eye contact when he's talking. But I mean, what you want me to do? I'm trying to get here. What you want me to do? I'm trying to get here. What you want me to do?
It's funny because we know we don't look at it because we know it's us, and then we don't do anything about it. Right? It's like, dang, he right, you right. What else have you noticed in the workplace that needs to be addressed?
Definitely loud talking. I think that's just one of my pet peeves, though, because I'm not that loud. But I just think being loud and
I just thought about something you posted on Instagram a long time ago. It's a meme of a dog, and it has this dog's face looking crazy, and it's like how you look when black people act up in public.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, especially when you work in, well, you know what? I'm not going to say that because it's loud in general. I don't like to do that whole thing of saying, oh, black people don't be loud. No. I don't have a problem with the way we carry ourselves, laughing if we're having a good time, because I'm talking about being loud in general. I've seen this from black and white people at my job. I almost said something, but anyway.
Come on, spill the tea.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You done dripped it.
No, I'm not going to do that. But just being loud, like, we don't have to hear. You don't have to be loud so that we know that you're working. Like, if you just do your job, we'll know you're doing your job. You don't have to be loud about it so that we can say, oh, yeah, she's on her P's and Q's, or he's on his, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Like, I don't have to know that you're going off on somebody on the phone to know that you're getting your job done. Like, just work. You know what I'm saying? Just work. Okay, I don't need to hear all that. I shouldn't have to put my headphones in every day when I get to work because you're that loud. So I just think some people don't realize how loud they are. But if I know your conversation and I don't even sit next to you, maybe you should dial it back. Like, I just feel like just quiet it down some, especially when you're in an office-like setting. I really feel as if the less I hear of you, the better. Because it helps me concentrate on my job, and I don't have to be disturbed.
I don't like loud talkers either, but it's in a different sense. it's like if I'm having a side conversation, you have to remember when you're working in a school with children, children are really observant. They're nosy. They're in your mouth when you're talking.
Oh,
And I
yes.
can't stand when like my coworkers and we're having like a conversation and the kids are right there. So why are you talking so loud? Like, do you want them to hear what you're saying?
Because they repeat everything.
Exactly. And then they misconstrue. Ooh, this girl, it upset me. She gonna say, Miss Foster be cussing at the track meet. I said, when have you ever heard me use profanity? Because that is not in my vocabulary. And if you have to speak like that, that shows that you have a limited vocabulary. And that is not in my character. And I said, now what did I say? And she gonna say you said ho. I'm like, first of all, who was I talking to? Like, she said I had called some girls from another team hoes or something. I'm like,
wow, that's not even
thank you. I was like, first of all, why would I even say that to kids? Number two, why would I be talking like that?
Why would a coach be like, man, forget them hoes?
Right, like, girl, mow your grass. So I had to check her real quick in front of her class so she knew not to do that again. But anyway,
she was bold.
I digress. She's sweet now. I love her. I really do. But I digress. But anyway, again, I just don't like when people talk loud, period, though. Like, if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with you, I want it to be one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Everybody on the hall don't need to hear what you're saying or what we're saying.
Right.
Can you dial it back? God bless you.
Can you please bring that on back? You know what I'm saying? So just I guess thinking about, and there really is no crash course. I think at one point some places that you worked were actually teaching or had videos on professionalism. I don't really see that now. I think I just see people coming in. They expect people to just know. And a lot of people don't know, especially when you're hiring people straight out of college or something, or maybe they've come from some people straight out of college, and I'm not saying every person, but some people straight out of college don't know how to act.
Yeah.
And then you have some people that came from a different type of work environment, and they're in a new style of work environment, and they don't know how to switch. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's important to kind of have those conversations. And I don't know what's going on with management. Yeah. They're really lacking over here. Pulling these people aside and telling them how to do things. So if you don't know, I just feel like the key things is to kind of do your work. Oh, and especially doing your work with excellence. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. And we can talk about that another time. But come in, do your work with excellence. You don't have to be loud about it. Stay away from the mess. But be on time and
clean up after yourself.
And just, what else did we say?
Clean up after yourself.
Oh yeah, clean up after yourself. Treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't care if they get paid less than you. I don't care, like you say, if they're a custodial staff, whatever. Everybody is a human being and they deserve respect. Everybody gets a certain level of respect, I feel. And if you want to treat people like less than, don't be surprised when they pop off and they don't care who you are, because at the end of the day, these hands don't care what your title is.
Stop. Okay, so I just thought about this year. I think God has me in the position I'm in for a reason. This year, there have been 2 instances where I've had to come between 2 adults.
You ain't gonna fight me, though.
Yeah, it got real. Ooh, okay. But I'm just gonna say I had to intervene twice this school year, because of a lack of professionalism in the work environment. Here's my thing. If you have an issue with someone, I don't have a problem with you addressing that person, although it does matter how you do it. But my biggest issue with both of those instances was it occurred in front of the children. Because we teach them over and over about how do they handle situations, how should they talk to people. But you can't preach that to them and then show them something different. Yeah. Because it's already enough for them to be at home and be exposed to the things that they are. You know, they're ignorant to how they should act, and ignorant in the sense of they don't know any better. So unless you show them better, they won't do anything better. And so I cannot preach to them about, don't use profanity. You don't refer, or you don't resolve an issue with physical altercation. And there was an instance where I had to stand between it before it went down. And I hate that it happened in front of the children, because now they see it. Oh, they're hyped. They're rowdy. They're pumping it up. Like, oh, they, And I'm just like, I had to remind the adults in that situation both times. You're the professional, and this is not how we handle it.
Especially when they're older than you, too.
Yes. Well, obviously, I'm
right. I'm saying they are older than you, but that's messed up. I actually have an example. I remember that as a child. when I was in school, like in elementary school, and I got this vibe that my teacher didn't like the principal. And I remember that one day the principal did something like apologized to her in front of the whole class and was talking about how she's a great teacher or whatever. And I think she had given her a vase with some flowers and stuff like that. So anyway, we get back to the room and another teacher came in and was just giving her I think it was other students in there and teachers, actually, now I think about it. So one of the teachers came in and was just like, congratulations, or oh, those flowers are so beautiful. And my teacher took it and like smashed the vase, and she was like, this is what I think about it. That's how I feel about it. In front of the entire class. And the teacher that walked in was like, okay. And like, she just like walked out, like, because it was so shocking.
Oh,
but like,
my God.
I just remember wanting to go home.
That's traumatic.
I just wanted to go home. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And that's exactly what you're saying. Like, you're doing all that.
This face.
Well, some students want to hype it up. I'm sure there were some students in there was like, this is not what I signed up for. I'm just here to learn. And you guys are going to the extreme.
I can see your face.
I was like, I'm pretty sure my eyes were huge. And I was like, did somebody call my mom? Like, I didn't sign up for this. Can we go back to a Becca book?
Aesop's Fables?
Aesop's Fables? 1+1. What were we just talking about?
I got a feeling I know who it is, but I'll wait.
We're going to do it off the...
Off
But
the
anyway,
air.
important, yes, indeed, because I just remember that. And after that, I just felt some type of way. From that point on, I didn't hold a grudge, but I just knew that something was up. And she really didn't care for her. And I was just like, this is a little too deep for me.
But you know what? I'm glad that you said that the principal or somebody came in and apologized, because that's what happened. The second altercation that I intervened in was after it happened, you know, the teacher apologized. The teacher apologized to the students because this particular adult was out of pocket, out of line, and knew they stepped out of character, and relayed that to the students and let them know that's not how you handle a situation. So I commend that teacher for doing that. Anytime that you do something in front of others, especially children, and you're trying to teach them better, it's important that when you do mess up, that you apologize in front of them so that they know, okay, that wasn't okay, and that's not how that situation
Yeah, I
should
do
have
agree
gone.
about that with adults when something happens in front of a child, because I've seen that happen as well. Well, I want to say one thing that I have learned too in this world, and it's something really interesting that I don't know what it's caught a hold of to a lot of people's brains, but they feel like they are entitled. They feel like I'm entitled to work somewhere. You need me. While yes, every business needs workers, but don't ever get twisted like you just can't be replaced.
Whoa!
And that's something I've seen a lot, though. Seriously, some people will act so high and mighty like they need me. They need to do this for me. You know, whatever. They feel like, oh, if they don't do it, then I'm going to sue or something. Like, I remember one of the first times I knew that this was real. Like, when I would start working like a real job, which is like I wasn't folding clothes. I mean, those are real jobs, but I guess I mean where I was working in a different work environment from what the setting was completely different. I was wearing dressy casual clothes. I was at a computer desk. I was in an office administrator. And I was a temp at the time. And I remember I was coming in and I had met a few temps that were already there in this business. And I remember I was coming in one morning and one of the girls that was one of the women that were a temp was walking out. And I was like, hey girl, where you going? You know, it's time for us to get to work. And she busted out crying, like right in front of me. And she said that they let me go. And I was just like, what?
I didn't mean to laugh.
I didn't know what to say. She was just crying there right in front of me. And people were walking behind me, just coming into work. And I was like, what happened? And she was just like, I don't know, they let me go. And I knew I was going to be late if I stayed down there. So I said, let me go check in and let me come back down and see about you. And so I got upstairs to my job and I was talking to my manager and I was just like, hey, such and such, she just got let go. And I was going to go back down there and see about her. And she was like, no, you're not. I said, well, I mean, she's really heartbroken and confused. And she was like, you need to sit at your desk because you could end up being down there too. She's gone. Like she got let go. Like she was like, she wasn't her manager, but she was saying, you need to be working. Like, she was like, you shouldn't go back down there. I sat back down at my desk, like, in slow motion. I'm sure my jaw was dropped. My eyes were looking big. But I realized in that moment that, one, you can't be replaced. Two, these people do not care about you. They care about the work that you provide and how well you do it. And if you're not doing a good job, they will let you go.
Whoa.
That was one of my first times realizing that there are, I mean, this is the truth of the matter, especially in the corporate world, there are no feelings. There's limited loyalty, depending on how far up, like, I mean, the higher up you go, there might be some loyalty, but at the end of the day, you can be cut at any moment. You can even not get the opportunity to clear out your desk. HR will clear it out for you, and you come get the box later after hours. Like, it's stuff like that. And so I just want people to understand that don't feel like you're entitled, that you can just slack off and it's going to be okay. You may go through several seasons with subpar work, but know that it's knocking at your door. So if you have great work etiquette, and you're professional, it's important. Especially, unfortunately, I have to say this, but especially as a person of color and especially as a woman of color, you are judged or looked at differently. And I'm not saying I agree with that. I hate it. I actually hate it. And there's so many things I've experienced as a woman, a Black woman in the office, in the workplace, that I've seen that's different than what other people have experienced. So I just want to say that professionalism, work etiquette, it's so important. And that's real.
Do you realize that girl is probably still in that parking garage? You left her hanging.
Girl,
I got
she's
stuck when
waiting for
you
it
said that you went back to your
I could not,
seat.
Candace. I was a temp. I could not go back down there.
She put the fear of God
My
in
manager
you, didn't
said, "You're gonna sit right at your desk."
And she didn't blink, did she?
No. She's like, "You're not going back down there." And what had happened was, the temp agency, if somebody, what's supposed to happen is if a business doesn't want a temp to come back, they call the temp agency and let them know not to come back. Well, the temp agency told the wrong girl not to come back, that they didn't want her. And so the girl that wasn't supposed to be there came. The lady that she came. And when she saw that her badge wasn't working, they kind of had security there to escort her right on out because you're not supposed to be here.
Oh, no.
So it was a miscommunication on the temp agency's part. So it was embarrassing. It was sad.
That
And
is
she was an
sad.
older woman, and she really wanted the job. She was really believing that they were, and hoping that they would convert her over from temp to full-time worker.
Oh, she was old?
Older than me. She was like in her 40s or 50s.
Oh, what's she doing? Anyway.
Anywho, not to
Yeah,
bring the
moving
whole
on. That
thing
was sad.
down. I know that was sad, but I'm just giving you the truth of the matter.
Right.
That is what it is. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I've seen true to form, like, for real. And if you, anybody that has heard this, if you've had an interesting experience, please share with us on our Twitter or our Facebook page. I would love to hear your stories because it's true. I mean, I'm not making this up. Professionalism and work etiquette, how it's so important. I feel, Candace, you feel that way too. But it's just the stories and the things you see. So it's important to just be your best and then, but most importantly, don't take nothing from nobody. We can talk about that another episode.
Yeah. We're going to stick to
Don't back down. But we're going to stick to professionalism today because I
Okay.
can go a whole nother topic about
Bring it
that.
back,
So
bring it
anyway.
back. Hey. Don't forget that you can share your stories with us. We're on Twitter at Sisterly Love Pod. Facebook, just type in Sisterly Love. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Libsyn, anywhere that you can find a podcast. We are there.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, iHeartRadio, Sisterly Love Podcast. That's us all day, every day. You feel me?
And don't forget that if you're loving what you're hearing on the show, you can always leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice so that others can know what you're listening to and how much you like it, and they can try it out and say, hey, I like these girls too. Feel free to just spread the love, show us some sisterly love, write us a review.
Sisterly Love.
Oh my gosh.
Sisterly Love.
Now it's time for
Sisterly
Love. Can you guess it? Can you guess it? Can you guess it? Can you guess it?
Yo, wiki, it's the part of the show, if you didn't know, where Candace presents Shayna with dialogue, whether it be conversation or a song, lyric, whatever the case may be. She has 3 chances to guess what it is or where it came from. Shayna, are you ready?
Yes.
Ling, 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 ling. This time, it's a song.
Okay. I can't hear that.
I'm sorry. I'm nasal.
Like, do a ooh or something. Oh, family, family, proud family. They'll push your buttons, make you wanna hug them.
Family.
You should have done the low part.
Okay, let's do that again. Let's start from the beginning.
You and me will always be tied. Family every single day and night. Even when you start to acting like a fool, you know I'm loving every single thing you do. I know that I can always be myself around you more than anybody else. Every day as a you know there's no one I love as much as you. Family, family, proud family. They'll push your buttons to make you wanna hug them. Family, family, proud family, proud family. They'll make you scream. Me wanna see
Family.
proud family. Go! I can't believe we did that
We
whole
both
thing.
did that.
But at first I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I'm nasal, so like
or oh.
it was sounding horrible. But she figured it out, though.
I did.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, that is it for our episode for today.
Until next time, we'll holler at your player.
Bye.